and spirit of our city. We have affordable rental units, workforce rental units, market rate rental units, and hundreds of brand new condos for personal ownership throughout our city. Personal ownership of condos is what really touches me. This is another example of Dania stepping up. We have answered the call to address the housing issue that hovers like a dark cloud over the entire region. And once again, we came out as an example for others to look to. Now, one of my main objectives when getting elected was to control the height and density for new developments with our upcoming RAC units coming in. And by meeting with staff, administration, multiple times, we eventually came up with a plan. I want to give a shout out to Eleanor Norena and Corinne LaJoy and their team for working with me closely on this. Thank you, ladies. After much scrutiny and collaboration, I could say we got it right. And controlling our new RAC units, we have updated our comprehensive plan in an innovative way with the elimination of development incentives by reducing the height and density in the city's regional activity center to a much more appropriate scale that preserves the integrity and character of Dania Beach. We have also been a leader in being a sustainable, artistic city in terms of development. This includes the establishment of green building regulations for all new construction and a contribution to our public art initiative. We also have completed one of our first public art installations sponsored by the Public Art Advisory Board. The City Hall mural, which you haven't seen, is titled Looking Forward, and it displays the natural flora and fauna that is native to South Florida. It's the big mural that has the Panther on it, guys. We just so happened to do it 2 weeks after the Florida Panthers won the Stanley Cup. So timing is everything, right? Now let me talk about the Community Redevelopment Agency, led by our department head, Michael Chen. Let's give it up for Michael Chen. Oh yeah, Mike. Where are you? Our CRA has developed a streetscape vision plan for West First Avenue, a comprehensive streetscape vision plan for the central spine of our arts and entertainment district. The plan
buttons going. Oh, we got him. Good evening, everyone. This is the City of Dania Beach regular city meeting on January the 28th, 2025. It is 7 o'clock p.m. and I call this meeting to order. City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Davis,
Here.
Vice Mayor Salvino,
Here.
Commissioner Llewellyn,
Here.
Commissioner Romoli,
Here.
Commissioner Ryan,
Here.
City Attorney Boutsis,
Here.
City Manager Garcia.
Here.
There you have a quorum.
Thank you, City Clerk. If everyone could now please bow your heads for a moment of silence. Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next we have the presentations and special event approvals. We have item 3.1, our very own principal, Dr. Tracy Jackson of Collins Elementary School. Would you please come forward? Good evening, Dr. Jackson.
Good evening. To Mayor, Vice Mayor, and the Commission, thank you so much for allowing me to attend tonight. If it's one thing that my mother taught me that will always stay with me, is that there are two phrases that we should always recognize on a daily basis. And those phrases are, please and thank you. On behalf of Collins Elementary School teachers, staff, students, parents, and other community stakeholders, I come thanking you for your support that you have extended to us at Collins Elementary School. Through and through, thick and thin, you have always been there for us. And so I have some gifts of token on behalf of our school to give to you today. But before I give them to you today, I would like to share with you this poem, and it's called The Splendid Torch. It is in line with our theme for the 24-25 school year, which is, I forgot it right at this moment, but it is in line with our theme with making sure that we do our very best to excel. And the poem is titled The Splendid Torch by George Bernard Shaw. This is the true joy in life, the being used for a purpose, recognized by yourself as a mighty one, the being a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish little clod of ailments and grievances complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy. I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community. And as long as I live, it is my privilege to do whatever I can. I want to be thorough when used up when I die. For the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle for me. It is a sort of splendid torch, which I have got to hold off for a moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations. Now, the reason I shared that with you is because I want you to know how we at Collins Elementary appreciate everything that our community does for us. And so this year, I'm starting our day of service a little bit early Some of you may have heard of the Day of Service that is done by Broward County Public Schools. It is to commemorate the day of February 14th, where 17 of our Broward County Public School family members lost their lives at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. So to commemorate that time, each school is asked to be a part of a day of sharing. And that day of sharing is to recognize persons who are in our community who are doing great things for us. And I believe, my school believes, that you are truly a part of that. So we're starting it off with you today. So for each one of our commission members, as well as Ms. Anna Garcia, we have this token for you to share with you today. And we hope that you recognize, that we recognize that you are a big impact in our lives, and we thank you. So I'd like to give each one of you one of these at this time.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for that poem. I wish you could come every week and give us a little. Start us off on a positive note. Yes, it says live, laugh, and love. And we have a taking notepad, which I know we all like to do. But it's a reminder that every day is precious. And as we get ready to commemorate the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas tragedy, we want to thank you and let you know, and if my colleagues want to speak, that we appreciate your partnership, we appreciate your kindness, and you are the example. So your students watch what you do. We love you as our school community, and we want to continue to support you in any way and every way that we can. So thank you for being who you are, and thank you for this wonderful reminder of our relationship.
Thank you so much. And I want to say, when we think of February 14th now, we think of it in a different way, in a way of love and service, because it was during that time and every day that we all now count our blessings for the time that we have here on this earth. And so that's why I came today. Our students on the day of sharing will be donating gift bags to BSO and Fire Rescue of Dania Beach to show our token of appreciation to them. So they will receive those on that day. We'll be collecting donations starting next week. So we're looking forward to that. And we're looking forward to you being a part of our leadership luncheon that is going to be coming up pretty soon. So we thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. Can we take a picture with Dr. Jackson?
Before we do that, Mayor, if you don't mind, I cannot work at school without my office manager. Those of you who've been to college, you know Miss Jordan. She does a wonderful job with keeping me in place and making sure that we have everything in place. And I know that you have Miss Maxine Singh, who does a great job. So I would like to give this to her, if that's okay.
Here you go. She is our hero. And thank you for recognizing all of what she does as well. We couldn't function without her.
Thank you so much.
Come on up, Maxine. Stay up here. Okay, up next, we have one of our favorite items here. We have item 3.2, a presentation of the Boys State Experience presented and sponsored by Commissioner Ryan.
Thank you, Mayor. First and foremost, thank you to the City Commission for approving this. The City Commission sponsors this through the American Legion, and we sent 2 boys and 2 girls to Boys State this year. Boys State is a program that is sponsored through the American Legion, and they run a mock government up in Tallahassee in the capital for a week. And, excuse me, they send you up there, and you take a bus all the way from South Florida. They pick up all the kids from local high schools, and the ones who are selected are really the most qualified, most talented kids in their school. And we went through a vigorous process of interviewing them. We interviewed, I think, about 6 or 7 boys and 2 or 3 girls. And we picked 2 boys and 2 girls. And, we asked them questions. They learned about government and what their interest is in moving forward. And you have to be a junior in high school to qualify for this. So these are lifelong lessons that you learn. I myself was a Boy Stater. My father was a Boy Stater. So I guess you could say that Dania Beach has had a long history with Boy State. And I'm very proud of the city sponsoring this event. Well, it's not an event. It's more like a learning experience. It's a life learning experience for kids. So I want to bring up Mr. Luna up, and he's going to give us a little rundown of his experience that he had over at Boy State.
Hello. Hello, and thank you to all the members of the commission who have invited me here. As Commissioner Ryan has said, they have selected me to go to Boys State around last year in April, and I went under an interview process, and we got selected to go up in Tallahassee at Florida State University for a week, and we learned a lot about parliamentary procedure and ran a mock government, which was very important for me. And I think out of my 4 years of high school, considering I'm a senior now, graduating, that was one of my favorite moments to have gone there and learned a lot about myself and what it means to be a public servant, because for myself, I want to pursue serving the public for the rest of my life. I want to become an officer in the Air Force. I want to run for office in my local government wherever I end up living. And I think that it just brings me pride and joy to serve my community. And Boys State was very eye-opening, not only for the amazing campus that Florida State has, but it just told me a lot about what it means to connect with different people, because understanding connections, meaning everything, is really important throughout whatever you do in life. The people who you connect with are people that you can stay with and have connections with for the rest of your life. There's still people at Boys State, even though it was a year ago, that I still talk to, because Boys State is an experience that we all have, and we never see each other ever again, but you can always find them, because there's Boys State alumni everywhere, former presidents, astronauts, Neil Armstrong, all alumni of Boys State. And I'm incredibly thankful that I was selected. My experience was amazing, and I'm glad that I can call myself a Boys State alumni. So in the future, when I hold a very successful position in office, I can select.
It's coming. You're well on your way.
Mr. Luna, so tell us, what did you run for? Because you have to run local, then you run countywide, then you run statewide. So please let us know what you ran for.
Okay, well, at the city level, I ran for deputy sheriff. I was selected for deputy sheriff. As we moved up, I got selected for sheriff of the county.
All right.
And then for the state, I got selected for a House of Representative position. We went to the Capitol. I sat in the seats of House of Representative members. We went under the same procedures they do. We took a tour of the Supreme Court, Florida State Supreme Court. So it was very amazing of an experience, and I'm very glad that I could have went because as somebody who wants to go to Florida State University, it's very cool to have the Capitol and the Supreme Court right across the street from there. So yeah, that's what I ran for.
Right. Well, thank you, Mr. Luna. I know Mayor Davis backs me with this. Mayor Davis is very involved with picking Girls for Girls State now this year, right, with the auxiliary.
Yes.
And we're going to do it again with Boys State. And we select students from Hollywood Hills High School. That's where we go. We deal with our ROTC program as well. So thank you for coming in, Mr. Luna. You showed how much of an impact this has made, and we continue to do this. And let's go up and take a picture if we can. Thank you.
100%.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you, Mr. Luna. Thank you again, Mr. Luna, Mr. Luna's family for coming out. I know I can see, that you're just as proud as a peacock with your son. How could you not be? Because that is just so amazing. And this is the great part of what we get to do. So we really want to thank Commissioner Ryan for bringing this forward and this item. I have no doubt that whatever you choose to do, you're going to succeed and do very, very well. So thank you. And thank you to Commissioner Ryan once again. All right. And now on, we will move to item 3.3. We have special event applications for Parks and Recreation, the Tri-Rails Rail Fun Day 2025. Do we need a presentation for that, Madam Manager?
No, Madam Mayor, this is something
Consensus.
that we have vetted and we are supportive, not just from Parks and Recreation, but from all departments, and we seek your support.
All right, do we have consensus from the commission for the Tri-Rail Fun Day 2025? We have unanimous consensus for that. And next, we will move on to item 3.4, request for proclamation approval for National Mentoring Month, January 2025, sponsored by myself, Mayor Davis, and National GovComms Day for February 21st, 2025, Marketing and Communications. Do we have consensus for approval for both those proclamations? We do. So then we will move on to the first proclamation. That's the addendum. We do have an addendum. We have an addendum 3.5, and I have it right here for, I believe it is a Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz award event for February 19th, 2025, a fee waiver for IT Parker Center rental. Do we have any discussion on this from the commission? I do believe we talked about the fee waiver removals last commission meeting. So, Commissioner or Vice Mayor, I have you here first.
I hit it by accident.
Okay. Commissioner Llewellyn.
And that's all I was going to bring up, was that we had talked previously about needing to be able to show the revenue coming into the center when it's rented. So instead of a fee waiver, I think it needs to be money coming from some source, whether it's commission contingency or what have you.
Through the
That's
mayor, we do seek sponsorship, and we'll make sure that any narratives coming forward is adjusted to make sure that we communicate that is a sponsorship versus a fee waiver, so the accounting shows as such.
It's $550.
Yes.
That's fine. Yeah. So,
So
I
do
would-
are we taking that from the manager's account? We're taking that from the
I'm fine.
commission account?
I would take it from the commission contingency, but if you don't want to do that, I'll take it out of mine.
Or we can go 150 and we got 550 and we can all sponsor it.
All right, let's all sponsor it.
Okay, let's all
right,
sponsor
We
it.
all sponsor it. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
city
you.
manager. Thank you,
Mr.
commission.
Mayor?
And next, we will move on to proclamations, which is item 4.1. It is January National Mentoring Month. And prior to me reading this proclamation, I will say that I had the awesome experience of attending a thank you breakfast with Big Brothers Big Sisters Broward County. We have one of our Dania Beach residents, Gabriel, who sits on that board, and it was my first time meeting the president and CEO, Melina Mendez. Did I say that properly? And just to see the work, we all know, I think at some point in time in our lives that we have had a mentor, somebody who has done something and mentored us to the next level. And so with that, we want to thank you and thank every mentor out there. And with that, I will read the proclamation for National Mentoring Month. Whereas Big Brothers Big Sisters of Broward County enables life-changing mentoring relationships to ignite the power and promise of youth in our community, and whereas investing in young people's futures pays off with significant social return on investment through improved economic health and social outcomes for young people with mentors, whereas by changing the course of young lives, we shape our community's social and economic future. And whereas Big Brothers Big Sisters of Broward County has created and professionally supported thousands of mentoring matches by partnering with parents, guardians, volunteers, and others in the community to help youth achieve higher aspirations, greater confidence, better relationships, avoidance of risky behavior, and educational success. And whereas Big Brothers Big Sisters of Broward's goal this year is to recruit enough volunteers to match every young person on its wait list. Now, therefore, on behalf of the City of Dania Beach Commission, I, Joyce L. Davis, Mayor of the City of Dania Beach, Florida, do hereby proclaim January 2025 as National Mentoring Month in the City of Dania Beach in recognition of the excellent life-changing work of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Broward County. If our the president and CEO, Melina Mendez, wants to come up and say a few words.
Mayor Davis, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Attorney, City Manager, and City Clerk, thank you for this incredible honor. I am very proud to be the President and CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Broward County, where we have served over 50,000 children in the past 50 years. We've been in Broward County. I am thrilled to say that this year, BBBS America, Big Brothers Big Sisters, is celebrating its 120th year. So, yes, it was started in New York City by a very brave clerk of the county courts that saw young boys coming through his courtroom and saying, these boys don't need punishment, they need support. And so I'm very happy to say that today, every child in the Big Brothers Big Sisters program graduates high school in our program right here in Broward County. So we're very proud of that fact. And I am honored on behalf of the children, the families, our board, and I'm gonna let Gabby say a few words, of course. I'm very proud and honored to be accepting this proclamation for the many children that we serve. So thank you so much. Gabby, Gabriel.
My friends call me Gabby. It's fine.
I got a phone call last week from Elena, and she said, "Hey, I need you to be at the city commission meeting next week." I'm like, "Why is that?" And she said, "Well, the city of Dania Beach is awarding us this proclamation." I said, "What a pleasant surprise!" So I'm on the board. I'm also a Dania resident. Thank you. I've been on the board now for 4 years. It's an amazing organization. The fact that 100% of the students that are mentees graduate from high school is phenomenal. I also do want to point out that what do we have? 1,000 kids waiting for mentors right now? Yeah, so we have 1,000 kids that have taken the time, and their parents have taken the time to apply, get qualified, do all the paperwork. So anybody that out there, commission members, mayor, if you're interested in mentoring, Anna, if you're interested, I do. I'm gonna hold you to it. We also have I spoke with Taral. I'm gonna call him out a little bit here. Sorry. We have a Bigs. What is it? Bigs and
Bigs with badges.
Bigs with badges. So we have a program with local police departments. So I'm hoping that maybe we can get involved with BSO Dania over here to get involved and have police officers mentor some of the local Dania residents. So thank you.
And we do have one more photo op, so thank you.
Yes.
But yes, we do have residents who are interested who have contacted me. So if we could make sure that we get them to the right contact person to get to be a big, absolute.
Or Gabriel.
Gabriel.
Or Gabriel.
All right.
Hold on, I'm gonna grab my phone.
Okay, moving on. We are now at our administrative reports, and we will start with our Madam City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, the great residents and citizens of Dania Beach and our city team. I wanted to start my presentation by introducing to you our new, well, not our new member of the team because he's been with us for a year and a half, but we have just made a promotion, and I want to thank our Deputy City Manager, Candido Sosa Cruz, and our Director of Public Services, Fernando Rodriguez, and our HR Director, Linda Gonzalez. But I would like to introduce to you our new Deputy Director of Public Services and City Engineer, Sean Shooten, and we're very proud to have been able to promote from within. Sean, can you come up to the podium? While Sean is coming up, I want to personally thank him because as you know, Colin Donnelly moved back to New Jersey. So this young man has put on a multitude of hats to support public services and the team, but he has been doing a tremendous job working with Rana and the Ron Book team, preparing us for Tallahassee. And he has really proven himself. And we are very glad to have been able to promote Sean from within. Sean, would you like to address our city commission?
I would. Thank you, Madam Manager. I appreciate that very much. It was a wonderful introduction. My name is Sean Shutton. As you mentioned, I've been here for approximately a year and a half. I originally came from the city of Milwaukee, where I was an engineer for 15 years. I worked both in the private and public sector. I'm licensed in 5 states, and Florida will be my 6th state.
Welcome.
Welcome, Sean.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. For your perusal, I have provided you with our first Huddle official employee newsletter of the year, as well as our 2025 calendar, where our senior team really worked very hard with me and with Linda Gonzalez. As you know, one of your priorities is ensuring that we retain and recruit the very best. So we're always thinking outside the box to really invest in our city team. Last year, I know that Commissioner Ryan gave me a calendar. I'm old school. You can always use those calendars so you can write in, even though we have our calendar in our phone. So I just wanted you to enjoy these 2 items that were provided from our city team and our HR department. Very pleased to announce that I had a great conference with Landmark Principal Francisco Rojo this past week. They have completed their TCO, their Temporary Certificate of Occupancy. So soon we're going to have 99 new apartment units be filled with individuals and family. And we could not do this without the support of our city commission. The support that you gave in that grant that you provided for Landmark was a springboard for monies that they were able to get from the county as well as the state. We will be working very closely with Francisco and his team, and we are going to be planning a ribbon cutting ceremony in mid-March, and you will be meeting many of your new residents, and you will see the return on the investment for that wonderful property. We've also spoken about opportunities for affordable housing and what we could continue to do via public-private partnership. So very excited. 2 key water projects, including a major project in the heart of our entertainment district and park improvements at Dania Cove Park via FERDAP, is what we're going to be presenting as we're going to be descending on Tallahassee, building on what we were able to bring back for the city last year. Very grateful that our mayor and Commissioner Remoling will be joining me, and we look forward to a very, very positive session. And we're going to continue the renaissance of our city. When we go, we're extremely prepared. As I said earlier today, Sean has helped us greatly to prepare the documents because they just don't give monies out to everybody. There's a certain criteria and documentations, and we're going to be beyond ready. So we look forward to our session. Our $560,000 investment in citywide LPRs is unprecedented. Folks, there has never been an alignment of words with actions that I've ever seen in my 30 years of public service. So when you look at this mayor, this vice mayor, this city commission, we align our words with actions. Soon, by next month, we will complete our project. We couldn't do it without our chief over there, Chief Tarala. But the proactive measures that we're taking in our city are truly unprecedented, where everywhere you go in our city, we will be documenting every single vehicle that comes in and out of our city. It really has allowed us to not just prevent crime, because the bad guys, the criminals, they know not to take it here to our city. So we're going to be completing that installation by next month, and we look forward to being out and about and doing a ribbon cutting of sorts because we want to make sure that we're marketing what we're doing and that everybody know what is occurring here and where your tax dollars are going. Very excited about that. The final public meeting for our Stormwater Master Plan was held this past January 22nd. We are at the last phase of what will be, again, an unprecedented document that will be completed in the city that will help us be stronger as we seek public funds at all levels, from the federal level all the way down to the county and the state. And we couldn't have done it without our public services department, our marketing department, our deputy city manager. So this document will be presented to you no later than April, but it really has looked at our entire city, and that will really position us to be able to seek grants and have appropriations every year in our budget. Our core conversation program was a hit in our inaugural season last year. We took government to the people. We wanted to make sure that not only could you see us here at the commission meetings, but that we would come to a neighborhood near you. And we have already set the dates for next year, and we're going to align these dates with different facilities so you could see the progress at C.W. Thomas. We're getting ready to commence the design for P.J. Milley. So we're very excited. And so put this in your calendar. The following is our core conversation schedule: June 12th, July 10th, August 14th, September 11th, and October 16th. We will coordinate the above dates with citywide locations to be able to continue to meet our residents and be able to answer all your questions and listen to your concerns. Via conference call on January 20th, January 22nd with Louis Mata from the Joe Milton team, he updated me on the upcoming Gulfstream project. I'm very pleased that our deputy city manager and our public services team has met with them, as well as Eleanor and our community development team. This partnership will include approximately $275,000 public-private partnership with this group, the Joe Milton Group, and we will be commencing on the construction of this very, very needed project on Gulfstream Road, and we will be reporting to you as we progress. Maxine will be providing you with the dates and seeking your availability because we're ready to go for the amendments of our strategic master plan that was adopted in 2020. So as of February the 3rd, we're going to be having one-on-ones, and that will culminate in our March or April full day of service as we work together with our elected officials and our city administration to bring forward a new and amended strategic master plan that will be our playbook as we continue to move the city forward. Thank you so much, and this concludes my report.
Thank you, City Manager, for that very thorough report. And next, we will have item 5.2, the City Attorney Report.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners, everyone in the audience. I'm going to make this really, really short. I just wanted to give you some sad news. Tom Ansrow's wife, our former city attorney, she passed away. And that's the end of my report for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Eve. I was not aware, and so our deepest condolences go out to their entire family. Next, we have item 5.3, City Clerk Reminders.
Thank you, Mayor. Your next meeting is on February 11th at 5:30 p.m., which is your CRA board meeting. And then following that is your commission meeting at 7 p.m. And then you have your next meeting on February 25th at 7 p.m. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
No. Thank you, City Clerk. And next we have item 6, Public Safety Reports, and we will start with our very own BSO Captain, Jason Tarala.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Attorney, City Manager. So I'll start out by saying we had a very busy couple weeks. Earlier on Saturday, we had our deputies were called to a residence for the second time, and upon arrival, they were told that a gentleman had a firearm on him. Upon seeing our deputies, he fled on foot, and our deputies immediately established a perimeter. We called our helicopter as well as our canine units. We were able to contain that subject within our perimeter, and after a search with our canine unit, we were able to safely apprehend that individual and place him into custody without incident, and he was charged accordingly. Earlier during the weekend, too, we also had a residential house fire that turned into a narcotics investigation off of 2950 Southwest 46th Court. Deputies were dispatched to the residential fire at the listed location, and upon arrival, the deputies responded to the residents. They quickly evacuated all 3 occupants as well as their pets. They also evacuated neighboring residences, and upon arrival of the firefighters who ended up putting out the fire. At the conclusion of the fire being put out, our deputies conducted a search of the house for safety, and while searching the house, they discovered multiple marijuana plants that were made for cultivating. They immediately pulled out, and they contacted our CST detectives who authored a search warrant, and upon authorization of the search warrant, they ended up charging the homeowner with manufacturing and cultivating cannabis within 1,000 feet of a child care facility, manufacturing and cultivating cannabis within 1,000 feet of a church, as well as possession of 20 grams of marijuana. And that gentleman is still in custody as of today. Also, last week, our deputies responded to a 4801 English Avenue, the residence in reference to a subject who was refusing to leave the property and was giving a hard time to the management. Upon arrival, our deputies made contact with the individual and they asked him to leave the property. The individual decided to take a fighting stance and wanted to fight our deputies. He pushed our deputy and attempted to resist, and he was taken into custody and taken to the main jail for felony charges, and he's still in custody as of now. Earlier this week, I also had a meeting with the state attorney, reference Dania Point, and I can just tell you that it was a really good meeting, and it was just to basically go over our safety protocols and what we've done as a city, what we've done at BSO to protect our residents, protect our visitors, and protect that property. And I can tell you everything was a fantastic meeting. I know the mayor had a meeting as well, and we stand as one voice throughout the city and law enforcement with the city manager, and making sure that protecting Dania Point is a number one priority for all our visitors coming in here to make sure we keep that a very safe environment. We also had the Vintage Motorcycle Show this weekend. I saw many of you there, and I can tell you we had a fantastic presence of law enforcement. We didn't have a single issue this year, which is fantastic. There was a lot of people and not one single issue. That's a great event for all of us and everybody who was there. Very safe for everyone. Just to piggyback, I know you had the LPRs. I also want to piggyback that I contacted our fleet director this week. It just so happens, and he said that our 2 Sky Towers that we purchased, that is a major investment. They should be, without any delay, they should be delivered to us in February. So that will be huge once we get those, and we'll be able to put them in Dania Point, our beach, any locations that we know is a target location. And they're going to come with 4 state-of-the-art revolving cameras that will be 360 everywhere. That'll be held. That we'll be able to have. We'll be able to view those cameras from anywhere, as well as have our deputies inside the booth up top. So that's going to be a great deterrent and also a great area to be able to watch 360 cameras at all the time for locations that we deem we need to put those in. I want to take the time to introduce. We have a new sergeant that started with us in Dania. We've had some movement. We're getting a new lieutenant. Obviously, we know Lieutenant Romano is the new XO of the city, our new deputy chief. So to backfill his spot, we're getting a Lieutenant Taji Parrish, who's being promoted next week to lieutenant. So I'll bring him to our next commission meeting so you can meet him. But we also got a new sergeant here. He was actually a sergeant in the city in 2016 and 2017. Once I knew we were getting an opening, I actually recruited him to come back to the city. I worked with Sergeant Perricone at Oakland Park 22 years ago as road patrol deputies. I've known him a very long time. He has a wealth of knowledge, and I'd just like to come up so you guys can put a face to him. He's going to be covering our senior midnight shift. That's the shift he likes to work. He likes midnights. He's always been a midnight guy. So come on down, man. So this is a welcome back for Matt. He knows the city very well. He was here for 2 years as a sergeant before, and I'll just let him give a quick introduction of himself to everyone.
He basically covered everything I would have said as far as my tenure when I was here, and I've been a supervisor for about 8 years when I was promoted here the first time. And like he said, I like midnights, so I'll be one of the patrol supervisors working at night if there's any issues.
Thank
you.
Thanks, Matt.
And Chief, do we have a new contact for the later hours in the evening if we get calls like in the middle of the night?
The cell phone that we were using was having problems.
Right.
So we had major problems. So we're working on getting either a new phone or coming up with a different system for you guys to be able to contact that supervisor directly. The phone was getting all kinds of robocalls, and then we were getting told that the phone wasn't even working. So we're working on maybe getting a new phone with a new number.
Thank you.
So we can limit the robocalls and only give it to certain individuals. Any questions? Anybody? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And thank you for the job that you did with the motorcycle show. Your presence made a huge difference. I know the vice mayor was out there, and all of us actually were out there, and we saw your presence. It was a beautiful event. It was safe, and that's what we love to see. A lot of people enjoying their time, and they can do that because they feel safe. And thank you for what you do to make that happen.
Thank you all for everything, and
Thank
always
you.
the continued support. Thank you.
All right, next we have our BSO Fire Chief, Sergio Pellicer. Welcome, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Manager, City Commissioners, City staff, and the great citizens of Dania Beach. Tonight I'm going to talk to you about a few things. Emergency preparedness. As you know, every year we start early. We review and refine our city's emergency management plan. It's that time of the year. So this proactive approach ensures that all the departments in the city are familiar with the plan and are ready to respond when time comes. I want to express my gratitude to all the departments ahead of time and their personnel for their dedication in keeping our city prepared for all emergencies. Community engagement for vulnerable populations. So speaking of emergency management, I want to encourage our residents out there to make sure to take an important step. And if you know anyone that you may think that they're part of this vulnerable population, that they need help, I need them to please register. You can find a link on our city's website. You could also go to Broward County's website at browardcounty.org at risk, or you simply call 311. This registration helps our fire department better identify the vulnerable population, the residents here in Dania Beach during emergencies. It's easy, but it's a vital step towards ensuring that everybody's safe. And as fire department readiness, as all you know, our fire departments are essential life-saving tools. And part of ensuring that we're always ready involves maintaining our equipment. We check out our firefighters check out their equipment every single day. But I'm pleased to share with you that we have professional people come in and check what's known as the jaws of life, those hydraulic tools, and certify and recertify them every year. They just got done, so this ensures that we're ready and fully prepared to rescue anybody that may need to be rescued out of a vehicle. So that's all I have. If you have any questions. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you so much. I just do want to let you know that your colleagues at IAFF were at my conference from Boston, and what they're doing to support all of the fighters is very impressive. So we'll meet offline about that, but I was very happy to see your presence there at the conference in Washington, D.C. So thank you. All right. Up next, do we have any citizens' comments? We didn't receive any, but if there's anybody from the public that would like to speak, please come up and state your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is Frank Aiello. I live at 325 11th Terrace, Dana Beach, across from Olson School. I was here last Tuesday at a meeting. I'm not complaining to all you, okay, but I just have to let you know. Just one quick thing before I forget it. If you're coming down Sheridan Street and make a left on Federal Highway going north, there are 16 streetlights that are out. I don't know if anybody's ever noticed that, but it's pitch black. I've contacted many people, but never received any answers. Now, this phase 2 that they're doing down the street, I live on 11th Terrace across from Olson School. What happened to phase 1? We understood that they were going to do our streets. One good reason is when the kids get out of school, they're in 4 foot of water. Is anybody aware of that when there's a flood happening? I'm not complaining, but I'm just saying that we're in dire needs over there. And I was here at the meeting last Tuesday, and there was no answers. They just said, we're going to move on. Now, at the end of that school, there's a construction site. Some of you have seen it, some of you haven't. Is that going to remain there until their project is done wherever they're at? And does that mean that our project for the park is going to be held up for another 2-3 years? It's your turn.
Well, I will let the city manager address that, but I do know that we do have a whole plan for Olson that is underway, but I think you might have some of the details mixed up, so I will let the city manager clarify that.
So we're very excited about the partnership that we have with Olson. It still has to go through some steps for us to be able to move forward, and that's going to encompass the 7 acres. That will be a mutual partnership between the school and also a park for the community and for the residents such as yourself.
Right.
The Southeast Drainage Project is the largest infrastructure investment in the history of 120 plus years. Is going to have a primary phase, which is phase 1, and also a phase 2. In the meeting that you attended, we're still gathering data and input for the entire citywide storm drainage master plan. So yes, we are aware of everything that's going on in front of Olson, in the southeast, out west, in the northwest, and citywide. And as we continue to work on the plan and we present it, we will make sure that we put monies in the budget and or seek appropriations according to the priorities and the impact of such projects.
Is there any projected forecast on when you're going to start the park?
Which the Southeast Drainage Project has started.
The park at Olson.
The park at Olson, everything on our end, the ball is on the court of the school. We've done everything in our end, including getting unanimous support from our mayor and our commission to be able to move forward. We're working very closely with Dr. Wanza, which is the right hand of the superintendent, for Olson and for our elementary school, Collins, as well. And as we get information, as soon as we get it, we'll put it out there.
Last week, according to the engineer, where that Olson Park is in that construction site, all that's going to be there for a few years. So when do you think they might start this park at Olson School?
Well, what you see at Olson is not for the Olson project. What you see at Olson is a staging area for materials and equipment that we're using for the Southeast Drainage.
Correct, which he said is going to be there for several years.
We move a little quicker than that. So as the process at Olson moves forward, we will be able to, make those necessary changes and moves. We're not going to let one project interfere with the progress of the other project.
Okay. One more thing.
Thank you, sir.
Just one more quick one.
Sir, we have to move on.
Okay, you know where Meadowbrook Lakes is, right? The condo units at Meadowbrook? Well, at the entrance of Olson Park School, we have a drain on our property. And I've had the city out there many times, and I had showed them if I put a tissue in our drain, it runs into our pond, water coming from the street.
We can have you talk to our public services department and discuss that in detail.
Okay.
But we do thank you for you voicing your concerns, and we appreciate your time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the consent agenda, are there any items that the commission wishes to pull from the consent agenda? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Vice Mayor?
Make a motion, pass the consent item 8.1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is, 5, consent agenda. I want to make sure I get them all.
Do I have a second?
Second the motion to approve the consent agenda.
I do my best to keep a straight face up here. All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. The consent agenda passes unanimously. Thank you so much, Commission. And then we will move on to bids and requests for proposals. We have item 9. Eve, if you could please read item 9.1.
Yes, ma'am. A resolution of the City Commission authorizing the proper city officials to execute an agreement with CAP Government, Inc. for building department services related to request for proposal 24-27, providing for conflicts and an effective date. This is a community development item.
And we have our very own Community Development Director, Eleanor Norena.
So sorry about that.
You're good.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Yes, this is a request to award the RFP for Building Code Services. We are requesting to award the bid to CAP Government, Inc. They currently provide services with Broward County through an interlocal agreement. And we're very pleased with their services, and they were the most cost feasible of the respondents from this RFP. So staff is recommending approval of this item. If you have any questions, I'm here.
Any questions from the commission? All right, do I have a motion? Vice Mayor,
Make a motion, we pass that item.
I have a motion from Vice Mayor to pass item 9.1. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second from Commissioner Llewellyn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. All right, item 9.1 passes unanimously. Now we're going out of order a bit, right?
Yes, ma'am.
We are going to move on to item 12, to the second reading ordinances. Eve, if you could please read item 12.1.
Yes, ma'am. An ordinance of the City Commission authorizing the expenditure of city funds exceeding $1 million, which expenditures for the design services related to the Parks Master Plan for PJ Milley Aquatic Complex project, providing for conflict severability and effective date. This is second reading. It is a Parks and Recreation item. And the reason this is taken out of order is because if this doesn't pass, then Resolution 9.2 can't go forward. And again, this is just to authorize us to be able to spend the money that is reflected in 9.2 for Bermello Acamil for $1.68 million.
This is a public hearing. Does anyone wish to speak for or against this item? Item 12.1. Seeing none, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 12.1 happily.
Thank you, Commissioner Welland. Do I have a second?
Yes, second.
Have a second from Commissioner Ramoli. All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. All right, item 12.1 passes unanimously. And now we will move back to item 9.2. Eve, if you would please read item 9.2.
Yes, Mayor. A resolution of the City Commission authorizing the proper city officials to execute an agreement with Bermello Acamil and Partners for design services for improvements related to the new construction at PJ Milley Aquatic Complex in the amount of $1,688,500, providing for conflicts and an effective date. This is a Parks and Recreation item, and this is the actual construction drawings. I don't know if you'd like to hear from Parks.
Commissioner Llewellyn.
You can go ahead. If they're going to present, I don't know if they're not.
Come on, Frankie. You want to say a few words?
Come on down, Frankie. He's very excited about this, as we all
And then I
are.
will ask a question since he's coming all the way.
Yeah. He's all dressed out.
Come on.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioner. So yeah, I got dressed up to talk today. So yeah, we're very excited about this project. It is one of our, Parks Master Plan projects that we're working on, and it's for PJ Milley. So it's gonna change that park completely. It's gonna change that neighborhood. I've been on the phone with Sean today, actually, from Public Services, talking about drainage and how we're gonna coordinate things smoothly. So they're finishing up their drainage project, and we're getting our project hopefully started after approval. So just good coordination between the city, and we're very excited for this.
So that's what I was going to ask. I was just going to say this also includes it's going to include the drainage project as well as the park upgrades.
Yeah, so Public Services is doing their drainage project with Kimley Horn. We are going to get our consultant involved with their consultant, and obviously our staff with their staff to make sure we have everything coordinated correctly.
I'd like to make a motion to approve, but I know there's going to be other.
Thank you, Frankie. I'm so glad you came up and did that presentation.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ryan.
All right, I'll second the motion. I just wanted to point out that we had 13 bids on this project, so it's a very competitive process. and I'm pleased with the result. So I second it. Thank you.
Excellent. I have a motion from Commissioner Llewellyn and a second from Commissioner Ryan. All in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. All right.
Thank you.
Item passes unanimously. Thank you so much, Frankie. And now we will move on to item 10, quasi-judicial and public hearing items. There are none. So we will move on to item 11, first reading ordinances, of which there are none. So now we will move on to item 12.2. Yes, item 12.2. Eve, would you please read that item?
Yes, ma'am. An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Dania Beach, amending Chapter 27 of the City Code entitled Water and Sewer, Article 4, Water and Sewer System Impact Fees to eliminate an alternative fee calculation process in order to maintain consistency in fee calculations and to adhere to best practices, and finally, to eliminate the 2-year review requirement by the City Commission, providing for conflicts, codification, severability, and an effective date. This is a public services item.
This is a public hearing. Does anyone wish to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Yes,
Com-
motion to approve.
Commissioner Llewellyn?
I think Commissioner Romoli had his on for.
No, Commissioner Romoli?
Yes. I made the motion, yes.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Romoli and a second from Commissioner Llewellyn. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, item 12.2 passes unanimously. And now we will move on to item 13, discussion and possible action. Eve, if you could read item 13.1, please.
Yes, Mayor. A resolution of the City Commission authorizing the proper city officials to issue a call to artists for creative vision in order to establish a list of pre-qualified artists and proposed art concepts for a public art project, which is proposed to be an innovative public art concept, providing for conflicts, further an effective date. This is a community development item.
Thank you, Eve. Good evening again, Eleanor Norina, Community Development Director. So this is a request from the Public Art Advisory Board. It is our third call to artists. It's called Creative Visions, as the city attorney described. It's very unique because it doesn't have an exact location or theme or budget. There is a not to exceed $50,000 threshold within the call, but we're encouraging artists, local artists specifically, to use the city's approved public art master plan to help them create a proposal to present to the Public Art Board. The Public Art Board will shortlist 5 artists who will further their proposal, and that the finalists will be presented to the City Commission for hopefully future implementation of the art. There's some eligibility requirements within the call. The submittal window will be from open February 1st and closed March 28th. Public Art Advisory Board and staff are very excited to further implement the Public Art Master Plan and improve our collection of public art. So we're recommending approval, and I'm here if you have any questions.
Well, I would just like to say that I know how hard you worked on this. This is something that I championed from the beginning and really wanted to, instead of just picking a place within the city, that we look at the city through artist eyes. And so by doing so, the artists will be able to go out and look and see what they can bring to the city. And so I think it's a more creative, and I love that the term you chose, creative vision, to look at that and bring new public art to the city. So thank you for all the hard work. You guys have to dig out the details and make sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. And I just want to say that I'm very proud of the art board and the way that they work together and the way that you help to lead the board as well. So thank you for all your hard work and what you do on the Public Art Advisory Board. And Commissioner Llewellyn?
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a quick question. So this is basically, you're going to create a list basically of artists. No?
It's a little different. So we already have a roster list. That was our second call to artists, which we can pull from for projects that we know specifically we want a mural at this location or something at this specific spot. We can pull from that artist. This is an open call for artists to provide proposals to us. and they have the whole city as their canvas.
Okay.
They can pick a site out west, or they can do the beach, they can do downtown. The public art master plan kind of guides them and where we think we would like to see art in our gateways and in waterways. But it's really up to them to come to the proposals with us. So they're going to give us an actual proposal. It won't be a list of artists.
Okay.
Those proposals will be judged by the Public Art Advisory Board, and then the finalists will be presented to you.
Okay, so they'll be the ones presenting the actual projects.
Yes.
Okay. That sounds good then. I was a little confused. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Any further questions on this item? All right, thank you. Awesome job, Eleanor. And do I have a motion?
Yeah, motion to approve.
Motion to approve item 13.1. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Llewellyn. All in favor say aye. Aye. All right. Item 13.1 passes unanimously. On to item 13.2. Eve, if you could please read that.
A resolution of the City Commission amending the City Commission's community grant policy and discretionary fund use policy, providing for conflicts, further providing an effective date. This is a Commissioner Llewellyn / Finance Department item.
May I? Can I go ahead?
Oh, yeah.
I was waiting for you.
I'm sorry. I thought Eve recognized you, but
thank you.
Commissioner Llewellyn, this is your item, item 13.2. And so if you would please give us a little background on that, we'd appreciate
Sure.
it.
And I see our CFO is here as well.
Sorry, it was me. I thought it was me.
Thank you. Okay. Our CFO, Frank DiPaolo, is here as well. He can help fill in some of the blanks, and perhaps help answer some of the questions, as will I. As you know, we've been using discretionary funds. We have contingency funds that we can use for certain things, and we also have talked about having a grant program, a community grant program, for quite some time. So I thought this would be the opportunity for us to try to actually create a policy, because we don't really have a policy in place whereby we can actually have requests that come in that we can actually vet. We have had some issues in the past where we found out that there were questions about different organizations that were seeking funds, so we want to make sure that that's not happening. It's really, the whole idea behind this is to have more transparency and actually have a policy in place that can be followed. And there's room for amendments to this within reason, but I wanted to get something started on this, because the longer we go without it, the more potential there is for inconsistencies and problems down the road. So, Frank, I don't know if you want to add anything or.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners, and thank you, Commissioner Llewellyn, for asking me to speak on this and for allowing us to work on this for you, because we do actually have the community grants and discretionary funds policy, but we haven't actually done a community grant program funding cycle yet. We've been doing discretionary funds disbursements that you've all been asking for things at the end of the commission meetings and within your each individual discretionary use fund account, and then sometimes from the commission contingency for items that you all support. And what we'd like to do is bring some amendments to the existing policy that provide for a little bit of a tighter framework, some more formal guidelines for how these funds are awarded to the agencies and the people in the community that you wish to support, that you feel bring a direct impact to the community with what they're doing. And you know, the reason why they're seeking the funds is obviously to benefit the community and the residents of Dania Beach directly. So there's a few changes to the community grants policy, and then a few more to the discretionary funds policy, if you allow me to just walk through them briefly, and then I'm happy to answer any questions that you have at that time. So the community grants policy is already pretty comprehensive, but like I said, we haven't actually done a funding cycle. I talked about this a little bit back in December when we discussed this item. And what we're recommending at this time is that there's an annual maximum funding amount of $7,500 per organization per fiscal year for organizations that apply to the program. Those applications are vetted by the finance department and the city attorney, and then we'll deliver to the city commission a list of basically, here's all the applications that were received. Here's the ones that actually completed the application. It's submitted and they're in good standing. And then here's some that also applied that maybe isn't, not a complete application, but, it's kind of maybe missing some stuff. And then we also can show you ones that applied that just completely missed the mark. And that way you have the information that you need to protect the decision that you make to disperse these taxpayer dollars to these organizations and citizens of the city of Dania Beach. And so again, $7,500 per year per funding cycle. We also want to ensure that all grants provided through the program comply with city policy and best practices regarding the transparency and accountability over the expenditure of public funds. So the way they spend the money needs to be the way we spend money, because it's our money. And it's actually not our money, it's their money. It's the
exactly.
residents' money.
Can I add something to that real quick? One of the things that we had talked about, and it's actually in the policy, is having the organization come and do a presentation at the end of the year to show us where the money went. And for example, like what happened tonight, where we had the Boy State, the young man from there, showing us what he learned, something like that, so that we can actually see what's being done. So that this way, maybe you don't give somebody as much money the first year, but then maybe next year they get a little bit more because they can show us that they're actually utilizing the money. And it gives us an opportunity to make sure people are being accountable and they are actually utilizing the money for things that benefit the public use in the city of Dania Beach. So, go ahead.
Thank you. And then we also want to ensure that any organization that has like a not-for-profit status or other corporate filing requirements that they have filed and that they maintain all their statuses as applicable. Otherwise, they may be excluded from future funding opportunities. All that stuff also applies to the discretionary funds policy. And we also added for the discretionary funds use, which you currently ask for on a consensus basis during commissioner comment, we put in there that you now have to put it on a city commission agenda. So there's a little bit more transparency, and it gives the city administration time to review the application and make sure that the recipient organization is in compliance with all rules and laws for nonprofit status, et cetera. And again, protecting the way that we expend taxpayer dollars. And those will go on an agenda. We have a very simple agenda request form. You can work with the chief of staff. She can facilitate getting those on the agenda for you, and they'll go on consent. And if they don't get pulled from consent, they get passed, and then the funding goes through. That's just how it works. And we also want to ensure that for the discretionary funds program, similar to the community grants program, that they do provide us some type of a final report on how the funds were spent, so that we can see the quantifiable impact on the community. We can see the benefit. We know that the funds went for a worthy cause, at least the cause that was approved by you in advance, and that those results can be quantified and measured, and that we know that if they ask for the money again, then you're going to have a concern with that. So we recommend that these amendments be approved to the policy, and again, staff would do the heavy lifting on the vetting of these applications and the review of them, and we just ask that we adopt these. And for the community grants program, for that first cycle, we're asking for a $7,500 limit on contributions. The funding can come from the city commission contingency, which is already in the budget, so we're not asking for additional dollars in the budget if you want to do this. And then this will give us an opportunity to go through a cycle and get a feel for how this works and work out any kinks, and then we always come back better and stronger every time. So we just want the opportunity to do this in a very transparent and accountable manner going forward. Thank you.
And if I can, on the grant application process, it's a simplified process. It's not a very complicated 100-page document kind of thing.
I'm going to open this up for discussion. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Everybody that would be applying for these grants, I just vision that they're all going to apply for the $7,500. At that point, what tells you that you're going to give them $7,500? How do you deem that grant is worth that? Is it in the questionnaire of what's going to be, what it's being used for? And what happens if you feel, who's to make that decision, whether you feel that that's the proper amount?
I think it's a matter of their application that they submit, and if it appears that what they're asking for is $7,500 or $5,000, whatever it is. If it's obvious and it's clear, and they're submitting, let's say they're making some purchases of equipment for their organization that they've showed, quotes for what it costs and et cetera, then I think I think it's going to be more like if something says that if we see that it looks like deficient, and we see that there's an issue, like this doesn't look like 7,500, we can reach out to the organization. We will, and we'll get all that situated before anything comes to you.
Right. That's my point, because I think what could happen is that if they come in and apply for that and you feel that it's not, the amount they should be applied for, I, as a commissioner, do not want to be making that judgment call what that organization is worth, because it doesn't go well, and I don't want to be put on a spot for that. So that would have to be directed right back to the city administration, not to us. So once you've vented out and you do that, then then I would go and support the administration at that time. I don't want to be making decisions on that type of thing. The other thing is too, on the contingency, the city's contingency. Is it possible? How long does it take to review the applicant to find out if it's a viable organization?
I would say no more than a week.
Okay. The reason I ask that is sometimes we're in a time element, and if we ask for that money up front and we tell them it's going to be a week, for you to comply with the paperwork and for us to research it, can we work in reverse like that? Would that be something we could do instead of having to wait and come and ask for it, put it on the agenda, then wait another 2 weeks? Now we're into a month before we can go back and do that.
Well, the thing is, we already the agendas are printed the week before the commission meeting anyway, about 5-6 days before. So we need to have it at least minimum a week before that, just to have time to review it. So we already need at least 2 to 3 weeks of lead time,
Right.
and that's why we've asked in the policy for 30 days.
Well, that's why I'm asking you that if we ask for the approval of, like, if I ask for something tonight and I turn it in, can they turn the application in and then you have that a week to review it? You say it's going to take a week instead of making them wait 3 or 4 weeks, and do it in in a reverse manner. They don't have to get it if they're not right. But if we approve it, if it is right, then they don't have to wait that much time to get the funding.
I would say let's try to stick with the 30 days if we can.
Okay. Well, I don't agree with that either. It's a policy that when we get, I just feel like when we're on this end of the choice, and I'm not trying to break the policy down. I'm just trying to give my opinion on it, because I think what's going to happen is we're going to be under pressure. Somebody's going to say, well, I need this money today. Or in a week's time, I can't get this done for something that we feel that's good. And we're just making more rules, which I understand the transparency, and I agree to all that. I just think that should be some leniency along the way. And I understand that what policy is made, That's why I'm asking you ahead of time if that can be done. I think it can be done, but it's up to the commission to feel the same way or not. But I'm asking that. So. There was another question, but I'm talking out about so many things. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you.
Just to finalize, one more thing is, if we start running into issues with this, is this something we can retract through the year?
You mean the policy?
Yes.
Yeah, the policy
You
can
can
be-
always modify it or
course.
amend it,
Okay.
or
Okay.
remove it if that's
Okay.
what you choose.
All right. Thank you. My questions are answered.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Ramoli.
Hi, Frank. Thank you. I just want to make sure that the form that's created isn't so simplified that you can't make a real assessment on whether we should give 5,000, 7,500, whatever the number is they're requesting. Because I agree with Commissioner Salvino, or Vice Mayor Salvino, is that there's going to be probably the max requested each and every time. So I think the form needs to be detailed enough to be able to break down what those monies are going to be used for, in order to do I think an educational or evaluation of whether it's worth giving that money. In terms of timing, I'm one of those that believe that if the timing isn't right for them, well, it's just too bad. We need the policy, and we need to stick with that policy. And if they need the money next week and it takes 30 days to do it, well, maybe next year.
and they are more in line to get their application in sooner, so that they have the ability to have that money. And that's just my opinion on that.
I just had a question of clarification before I give my comments, and I'll let Commissioner Llewellyn go back. So this 7,500, this is specifically for the community grants program, and not the discretionary funds. Because right now we had the 25,000, and we're saying that the max. I just want to make sure that the max that we can give per organization is the 7,500. And I'm just having a little bit of confusion between the grants and then the discretionary funds, and making sure. And maybe I just need to read through, because as I'm reading through, it's a lot of, again, which I said, red tape. We want to have policy, we want to have transparency, but we don't want to make it so that it's so difficult for people or trusted organizations that we've worked with in the past to have to go through an exorbitant amount of red tape. If we have been here, we've worked with those organizations in the past, and it shouldn't have to take 30 days for us to go through that process, or have them go through that process if it's not 30 days in advance. So I have some samples or examples of that, like what I'm going to ask for during my commission comments. These are organizations that we've worked with previously. Do we need to have 30 days before that's approved? So I just need a little more clarification between the grants, the contingency. Does our contingency funds remain the same, and just the $7,500 cap? So just, if you could break it down for me, Frank. Thank you.
You got it. So we'll start with the 7,500. So it's 7,500 for either program, max per year, per organization, and you can only get one or the other. Can't do 7,500 here and 7,500 in the other one.
For the same organization.
The same organization.
Okay.
Correct. And then as far as the process, again, just to repeat, the reason why we ask 30 days, it's not like we just want to make them wait and sweat it out. The idea is we have deadlines for the agenda. There's a lot of work that goes into the preparation of the agendas. We have all those other items that we're reviewing, and then these get dumped into that mix. We'll prioritize them, but I mean, sometimes timing is difficult, and if we get something on the Wednesday before the next commission meeting, the following Tuesday, it doesn't really give us any time to work it out if there's an issue. If we just look up the information they gave us, and let's say the address that they gave us is not what's in the corporate record filing, but we have to contact them and find out why there's a discrepancy. And it may be something really meaningless, but these are the kind of things that we have to work out to make sure that, like, if they're giving us this request, we have to kind of cross our T's and dot our I's, and we just need a little bit of time to do that. The agendas, we always want to have this stuff at least a week to 10 days before the agenda deadline. And that's already almost 3 weeks before the city commission meeting date. That's just for the, and that's if we were really rushing into it. Our agenda deadline is like a month before the meetings for all other items usually. So that's
And
the
is
reason
it possible, though, that we could have a list of organizations that we have already vetted and approved? So you already know that you have the addresses. You already know that they're in good standing. You already know that they are reputable organizations that we dealt with in the past. I mean, because at the end of the day, when we ask for our discretionary funds, at least when I do, it's usually with organizations that have already been vetted and we already have a relationship with. So I just wouldn't want that to take 30 days or 2 weeks or something like that if we already have a list of approved organizations.
Right. So here's the thing. Remember, this is going to be once a year now. So it's not like we have an ongoing relationship with these vendors. We're paying them all the time.
I'm not.
So to be clear, that's only for the grant program. It's once a year for the grant program. It's not once a year for the discretionary funds.
Well, the discretionary funds policy says only one.
No,
you can only receive one contribution per year. So.
It's one contribution, which there are two programs, one contribution out of whatever program you decide to choose. If you choose the grant program, it's going to be once a year. If you choose the discretionary funds, it's 30 days beforehand, and it could be any time during the year.
Yeah, but they can only receive.
I just want to make that clear to the elected officials
Yeah,
that are looking
it can
at
be
this.
any time during the year, but the way the policy is written is it's for one contribution per year. So it's not like
So
we're
one period, not so
Yes.
we don't have multiple organizations that we can.
yes, one per organization.
Okay, so we
Yes.
still have the $25,000, but it just would be grant or.
Correct.
discretionary.
Let me shed some light. I think, you know, Frank was saying not to exceed 30 days. But for example, if we get a request from you tomorrow, right? We get that filled out paper, we can turn that around and it could be coming back for approval at your first meeting in February. So I think it could be up to 30 days, but we could turn it around very quickly if the documentation is in place from one commission meeting to the next.
Yeah, I think we just need to have an understanding that you all understand that we need so much lead time before a commission meeting. So generally, we want to stick to that 30 days just to make sure we have time to review it. Can we do it faster? 99% of the time, of course we can. But it's just an expectation so that we're not at the last minute we get dropped on us like that Wednesday before, like I said, and we're expected to have it done for the agenda's printing that day. Like we don't have time to even review it at that point. So we just want to have an expectation of some lead time.
So if we request the funds on this commission day, that should be sufficient enough to be able to have approved by the next commission. I mean, if it's like I'm going to give you a real example. We have the Broward League of Cities. We have something that we sponsor every single year. You don't need 30 days to vet the Broward League of Cities. So then in those kinds of cases, I can understand completely. If it's a new organization or an organization that hasn't been vetted, I want you to cross all your T's and dot all your I's and look through it with a fine tooth comb. But if it is an organization that we have dealt with and we say that, you know, it's up to 30 days. So if you can turn it around, then we can get it turned around faster. But I want to just make sure that we're not adding new red tape to organizations that we have built a relationship with over the years.
Also, I just want to clarify because it sounds like there's an idea that you have to put it out like in a commission meeting that there's going to be a request coming. You don't have to do that. You don't have to announce it that I'm making this request and it's going to come at the next agenda. Actually, they just go through the administrative process and they'll show up on the consent agenda. You don't have to say that it's going to be put on at a
So
later
does
agenda.
it say that it's sponsored from us?
It will.
Then?
It
So
will.
that will be like which commissioner sponsoring that, and then it'll be on
Yes.
the application, and so it can just go directly to you.
Yep.
And it'll come back to us for approval.
If you want to, do that, you can. But I'm just saying, don't feel like if you didn't announce it at the public meeting, then it can't go through the administrative process. That's actually the way it should go. But if you want to announce it, you can. That's fine.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification. Here we go. Commissioner Llewellyn?
So just two things I just want to address real quick and then make sure everybody's good with their questions. As far as the amounts are concerned, well, not even the amounts, the timing. I think we all know there are certain organizations that we do like to donate to. We do it on a regular basis. They have certain things at certain times of the year. We all know what they're going to be. For example, Prestige Club. I'll give that as an example. We know what those are going to be. So knowing that, requesting those amounts are things that you can do early on because you know that it's going to be coming up. The amounts themselves. Part of the reason why we're trying to limit this, and this is part of the discussion that we were having, is that there seems to be in some cases we're giving out a lot of money to some organizations and we don't have any sort of control or any sort of there's no accountability. So and you get to a point where you're handing out thousands and thousands of dollars to the same organization, and we don't ever know what happens to it. And we're not on the board. We don't know if it's going to the benefit of Dania Beach residents or to the benefit of the city itself. And we have taxpayers that want to know where their money's going. So it's just a matter of trying to keep that under control a little bit so that it's fair, but still, there is a process and there is a procedure, and we're making sure that it's being done for the public benefit, because that's really what this is supposed to be for.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that point, the accountability piece. But most organizations, at least that I know, most professional organizations, nonprofit or not, they give you a sponsorship deck. They say this is exactly what you're getting for your money. Yes. If we sponsor Ignite, then we have bullet point after bullet point after bullet point on exactly what is entailed in this sponsorship. So for me, I would prefer to see visibly what what a sponsorship deck over a certain amount of money, or if you're asking for $7,500, you should be able to put a graphic together and show what you're getting for your organization, or what your organization is how your organization is going to benefit the residents or the community of Dania Beach. So for me, I would like to see something like that with this policy, or just something visible, so that we know if we're given an X amount of thousands of dollars, then that should be very clear. Because we do that. If I'm going to sponsor something, then I say, let's get a sponsorship deck out, and I want to see what I'm getting, and I want to see what I'm giving. So those are my comments. And we have some more. I'm sorry. Commissioner Ryan, hold on.
Thank you, Mayor. I have one question, then a few comments. So if it's limited to one time per year per organization, is that per the entire commission? So let's say that Mayor Davis donates money to an organization, and then a few months later, I would like to donate some money to that organization as well. That's it, right? It's only one time from her.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to remove that requirement, and I would like to remove the requirement of the $7,500. I don't think it should be limited to a dollar amount, because if you look at what we've invested our money on in the past with our contingency fund, it has far exceeded $7,500. When you look at the career source, when you look at the book that we created, that was way over $7,500. So I don't think that we should limit it to the amount of times that you could do it per year, and we should not limit a dollar amount. I'm all for the transparency and accountability, for vetting them beforehand, having them giving you a report as well before and after. I'm fine with that. I just think that we should not put a limit on how many times you could do it and on the dollar amount, because we each have $25,000 for our contingency funds. So if we see an organization or a charity that is worth $25,000 and it passes the vetted process, then I would say there shouldn't be an issue with that. It shouldn't be limited to a dollar amount. So those are my two things I would like to change on this new policy, but I'm definitely in agreement with the transparency and accountability. Thank you.
But I just have a question on what you said there, Commissioner Ryan, because you're talking about the book, and then you're talking about the like nonprofits. So that to me would be two different things. If we're talking about something that we want to sponsor from the commission contingency, that's a commemorative book, that's different than us saying a particular nonprofit would have $7,500. Am I right on that? Or
Yeah,
can you-
the book is a totally different animal. The summer career program is more like a partnership program, like almost like the advertising thing that we did with is it Lauderdale? Like those are a little bit. Those are just uses of contingency. Those would not fall under this policy. That's just your discretion.
Okay. Thank you, and Commissioner Llewellyn.
And my only comment is part of the point of this is that we need to have a cap. Because otherwise we could be, again, giving out thousands and thousands of dollars to one particular organization with absolutely no control over what they're doing. And this is supposed to be, you're not supposed to just be sponsoring an organization. I mean, there are some organizations in the city that, if you give them enough money, you're literally funding the entire organization. And we don't want to do that. We want to keep this it's a grant where we're assisting. We're not sponsoring the entire organization. If you want to increase the amount a little bit, I don't really have a problem with that. It is a fluid document. But we can't just leave it unlimited. And yes, we have $25,000 for our discretionary, but we need to budget that, and we need to put it into different categories, and you don't even have to spend it all. But if you have it, you can put it towards different things that benefit different aspects of the community. And that was the whole point of this. So I think we need to keep a cap on it. If you don't want to do 7,500, we want to do, I don't know, 9,000, 10,000. I think that would be reasonable as well. But we can't go and leave it open completely. I just don't think that is fiscally responsible, and I don't think that it is something that's going to serve the purpose of what we're trying to do here. So, anybody else, any other comments? Otherwise, I will make a motion to approve it.
So just in the case of a Career Source Broward where we're funding a summer program for youth, that would be then capped at 7,500.
It's no, because that's a different program. That's a
That's where I think that we have to
It's
be.
kinda-
I mean,
it's-
because
it's spelled out in the.
well, I think maybe we just need to review it a little bit. Maybe I need to go a little bit more in depth and spend a little more time with it. But you can.
We need to get something on the books because I know people are ready to start spending some money, and we need to make sure that we're doing it in the right, responsible way.
Yeah,
So-
those programs have traditionally been budget appropriations. Like we now have money in the budget every year for the summer youth program.
So that's
That's
not
just
an
something that it's a cyclical thing now that we felt that there's a strong enough benefit and that we contribute to it every year. So
Yeah, your career source, your chamber, the motorcycle, those
These
things
are
are
budgeted.
included in your line
They're
items.
line
in your
items in the budget,
budgets.
yes.
That is correct.
So I'm going to ask, if I may, I'd like to make a motion. I'll make it to $10,000 cap as opposed to 7,500, and I would like to make a motion to approve this item with that one amendment.
Do I have I also would like to add the sponsorship deck if it's going to be $10,000 or more. Is that I want to?
It won't be more. It would be.
I mean, $10,000 or less. If it's at the $10,000 mark, I really think that we should have an accountability piece and be able to show.
That's part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, so when they submit their application, the application is just a form. It's like an intake, but then they have to provide sufficient documentation to evidence what it is they're asking for. That could be a brochure, that could be a slide deck, it could be pictures, and here's the programs we've run in the past. Whatever they have to include to justify the expense.
But they
And
will
then-
have documentation that it's visible that we are able to see exactly what the accountability piece is.
And then at the end, they have to provide us a final report that shows the evidence and the results. And then that's an opportunity for you to bring them in and maybe do like a showcase and have them talk about what they did and everything like that. But they'll have to submit that final report with those details.
It could be something as simple as what you saw today from Mr. Luna from Boyd State, a testimonial.
Yeah.
We're not doing this to create obstacles or to create bureaucracy. We're doing it to create transparency as we need to be stewards of taxpayer dollars.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Oh, sorry, can't say anymore. Commissioner Ramoli,
Yes, you have a second for me.
Laura, do you want to call it to a vote?
Commissioner Llewellyn? I'm sorry. Commissioner Ramoli?
Oops.
Yes.
Commissioner Ryan?
You turned it off.
No.
Vice Mayor Salvino?
I'll give it a shot. Yes.
Mayor Ryan? I'm sorry, Mayor Davis. I'm so sorry.
We're getting there.
Mayor Davis?
As long as we have the ability to amend it at any time and bring it back, then I will vote yes at this juncture. Thank you.
Mayor, the motion carries.
And the answer is yes, it can be amended, it can be repealed.
Thank you, Eve.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, thank you, Frank, and for going through the fire. Next, we have item 13.3, rescheduling of the March 25th City Commission meeting.
I believe the date that it was selected was the last day of March. March 25th?
25th of March.
Your rescheduling of the March 25th.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. 31st we scheduled. I'm sorry.
And that was agreed upon everything. Okay, 31st. Do I have consensus for the 31st for the March Commission meeting to be changed from March 25th to March 31st? I do have consensus. Thank you, Commission. So then we can move on to our favorite topic of board advisory appointments. Item 14.1, City Clerk.
almost there. Hopefully we can complete this. We have a few pending. Let me pull up okay, so I can just go down the list. The first one is the Education Advisory Board, which Commissioner Romoli today provided me with his appointment. Commissioner, if you would like to just announce it for the record. I'm sorry? Your Education Advisory Board appointment.
Monique, and I can't say her last name, Boucheri, I believe is her last name. Yeah, Boucheri, yes. She's actually a teacher currently at Collins. Yeah. And she actually teaches the class that my grandson is in. And she's amazing. And I think that's the kind of person we need on these advisory boards, someone that's invested in our community. So I'm really excited that she said yes and looking forward to her service.
And then the next we have the General Employees Pension Board, which is the one appointment, which is the commission as a whole.
Hold on a second, Commissioner Llewellyn.
Yeah, I have somebody for that to suggest. I don't have a resume, but most of you, I think, if not all of you, already know her. Kathy David, who is a CPA.
She agreed to do the pension?
She did.
I can't
I spoke
believe
to her
it.
today. She is a CPA. She also is already involved in the Fire Police Pension Board. Eminently qualified, in my opinion. I mean, you need someone who knows numbers and understands the trends and all of that, and that's what she's already doing on the other pension board. So, and she did agree. I didn't even have to really twist her arm. So
That's amazing. I'm surprised, but I'm wholeheartedly in agreement with that. Do we have consensus to have Kathy David with the pension? All right, we have consensus.
Do you want to go with consensus at one at a time? Because if we
For
do
the
that way, do you want to
pension,
do the consensus for Monique for the Education Board? Do we have consensus for that board as well? Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so then moving along, we have the Green Advisory Board. We have one appointment for Mayor Davis. Do we have an appointment?
I wanted to talk to that Marlene. I saw that she was one of the applicants that, and I don't want to butcher her last name either. But Marlene was one of the applicants. I just want to hold off 2 more weeks until I can speak with her personally because the environment is important and I want to make sure that she really wants to be on that one.
And Vice Mayor, do you have an appointment for the Green
Well,
Advisory Board?
No, I was hoping that the mayor was going to help me with one, but she's struggling. If anybody wants to help me with it, I'm more than happy because I've tried. I've asked 4 or 5 people, and I can't get anybody want. So I'm not ready for that one. I'm ready for the rest though.
Commissioner Ryan.
Yeah, I just have a question. Do we have a time limit to set these appointments? Because they've been open for quite a while.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, I think we've.
Yes.
I think we
if
passed that
there's not
time
an
limit.
appointment, the seat will remain vacant because the term will fulfill. They have a 90-day grace period, which ends February 3rd.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well, I will temper it. Well, we haven't.
A little bit. It'll remain vacant for a little while until our next meeting.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Hold on. Vice Mayor, Commissioner Romoli.
I just wanted to ask on that Green Advisory Board, are they able to meet right now or do they have quorum?
They do.
Okay.
They do. They currently have 3 members, so they have quorum with 3.
Okay, so we're not stopping them from meeting at this point. Good. Okay. Vice Mayor, I will do what I can to ask around and help you out there, okay?
Okay, so the next is the Parks and Recreation Board. We have an appointment for the Vice Mayor.
Okay, I'm going to reappoint Rich Aubie. Yeah, I spoke to him this week, and he said he was okay with that. And if I could, Mayor, on the commission at whole, I do have a recommendation for the alternate, if he qualifies. Is that okay, Mayor?
Sure.
Okay. Jeff Hansen, I think he's a Dania Beach resident, isn't he?
Yes.
Okay, he's asked to be on the park recreation. I told him I had already filled my position, and he's pretty well liked guy. So if everybody would approve Jeff Hansen to be the alternate,
Do I have consensus for Jeff Hansen to be the alternate for Parks and
reappointment.
Recreation? Yep. I have consensus. Thank you.
Vice Mayor, can you send me and Aaron the contact
yep,
information?
I'll get it from him and I'll send it over to you.
Beautiful. Okay. And then last but not least, planning and zoning, we have one appointment for the vice mayor.
Oh, no, this is a tough one. Joanna wants to be on it.
Okay, do we have consensus for Joanna? Beautiful. Okay, and that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, City Clerk. And now on to commission comments. First up, we have Commissioner Lloyd Llewellyn.
Why, thank you, Mayor. First of all, thank you all for approving my item earlier tonight. I do appreciate it. Let's give it a shot, like you said. And if you have changes or we need to amend things, then perfectly fine with that. Like I said, it's a fluid document. We can definitely make changes as we see fit going forward. I have a couple of comments first, and then I have a couple of things I just want to bring up real quick. On the manager's report, she was talking about the core meetings starting up again in June, which I'm glad we're doing those again, because I think for the most part, they were beneficial. I would ask if there is any way when they are scheduled, if we can try to make sure that they are inside because it's summertime. Because last time, the ones that were outside, I think were very uncomfortable for people, for a couple of them, because they were just really, really hot. That's my comment on that. Also, with City Place, I was wondering if, do you know how many applications they have for that?
I will tell you that the amount of applications exceeded the 99 units. But I'll get you that number as we work closely to bring the ribbon cutting event.
Sounds good. Okay. Let me just see. I was trying to pull something up here. I'll get to it when I'm next. So I attended the MLK dinner, which was also very well attended. IT Parker is a lovely event space, better than ever. And I do think that I mentioned there was one issue with the stage that I have mentioned to the city manager. The lighting is a little bit tricky, so I think that's something that we're going to need to, the lighting on the stage, and the acoustics is a whole other story, but the lighting in particular is something that I think we can fix, and we should. Next was the motorcycle show. Also attended that, and like I said, everybody was there for that. I will say it was it felt much more family friendly this year. And it seemed to be a lot more kids, a lot of people just much more relaxed and really enjoying themselves this year. So I will say that I noticed it. I don't know if it was the police presence, but I know it was. I enjoyed it. I got there late, but I enjoyed what I saw while I was there. I did want to dispel a couple of rumors, though. There are people that are. I don't know exactly who it is, but it seems like every year when this event comes up, it's said that this is the last year we're doing it. It's the last time we're doing it at Frost Park. It comes up every year. And for anyone who's watching, anyone who hears this, it's not the last year, at least not from the city's perspective, because I know it's an event that we like to put money into because it is very good for the city. It's good for the businesses. It brings people into our city. So I highly doubt that it's something that's going to go away unless the people that are putting it on choose to have it go away. But even Frost Park is not, the construction on that won't take place for another couple of years, likely. Is that correct, City Manager?
Well, yeah, let me dispel that rumor. If it doesn't occur in Frost Park, we have already spoken to the motorcycle club individuals, and we have a great partner in the casino. But whether it's a construction or moving forward with this, beach stand sports that we're going to be doing with Rita Crockett, the wear and tear on our ball fields and on our sod and our grass really impacts us. So the only scenario that would change, that instead of doing it at Frost Park, we will be doing it across the street at the casino. So
I just want to make sure that it's out there because
Absolutely.
I can't tell you how many people came up to me at one time or another and made a comment, oh, too bad it's going to be the last year. And I'm like, who's telling you this? So, but it seems to happen every year.
Every year.
And it's unfortunate because I don't want people to think that it's not, we realize the benefits of things that we do here, and it's important that we continue the ones that, especially the things that people really enjoy. Another thing, and here I'm going to be the rumor dispeller again. So I've been hearing. I know we do have a lot of new construction that's been going on, and I've had a couple of people approach me and make comments about how we have all this new construction, but nobody's in the buildings and nobody's living there. So I asked for a survey to be done and to find out what percentage of occupancy we have in each of the buildings. So I just want to let everybody know that the only one that was less than 50% full was Elevate, which is 600 East Dania Beach Boulevard. That was at 49%. The rest of the buildings are all over 80% full. In some cases, well over 90% full. For example, Seaview is 94% full, occupied. Let's see, the Avery 2 is 94%, and Avery 1 is 83%. Oasis Point is 93%. And some of these buildings I've actually been in myself, so I see people coming and going and living there. Very clear that people are living there. So I just want to make sure that if you see, maybe you see dark windows or whatever, you don't think that people are always there. It doesn't necessarily mean they're not living there. There are people that are actually living in the buildings. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. Otherwise, looking forward to our next Dania After Dark. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Llewellyn. Commissioner Ramoli.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, with Commissioner Llewellyn, I attended the MLK Gala. It was a nice event. I think there's some things that we can do to kind of elevate it a little bit more, especially if the city is sponsoring it. I think we owe it to the city to represent itself in a little bit better way. But it was overall a very nice event, and I enjoyed being there. Debbie Wasserman Schultz was there also. So we had a real good presence from the commissioners in Hollywood, which I thought was great, our sister city, and it's nice for them to support our MLK event, and it was very, very much appreciated. I just want to put a shout out there to Tony Thackman and his staff for the motorcycle event. It's quite an undertaking, a one-day event like that for that many people, and to organize it the way they did. It was really cold that morning. But they got their job done. The Dania Beach Improvement Committee was also part of that, and they did a really nice job. And of course, all of us were out there at some point in time, and everybody was having a great time. And it would love to see that thing continue. I'm glad that our commission dispelled the rumors that it was going away. Again, I just want to thank them for a job well done again this year. And that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Ramoli. Commissioner Ryan.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, there's a lot of events going on. The motorcycle show was very nice. The MLK Gala was wonderful. It was unfortunate that the weather wasn't good enough for us to have the parade on Monday, and the sheriff didn't make it as well. But, we look forward to it next year. And we had the Dania Beach Dolphins football banquet over the weekend. And right now we have an 8-year-old football team. As you know, I'm the coach, and we have a 12U team. And the banquet was at IT Parker Center. It was a wonderful event. Our Parks and Rec team does an awesome job. And we're trying, what I said at the banquet is we're trying to build something here. We're really trying to build up our youth sports here. And Parks and Rec has done a great job of trying to encourage kids to come out, parents to come out and coach. We don't just have football. We have a baseball clinic coming up. We have a lacrosse clinic coming up. They have like an overall activity day. So just make sure that you check the website because it's all there for you. And, let's get our kids out there. Let's get our youth out there. Let's get the parents involved and just keep trying to build up our youth sports program. We're spending countless money on our parks, but we need to bring people in and analyze State. If you build it, they will come. And I'm a firm believer in it also, but just want to put that out there that let's keep working, keep building up these youth programs, keep empowering our youth. The whole community should stand behind them. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Ryan and Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to piggyback on you, Commissioner Ryan, I'd like to thank you for working with the football team. I mean, it's been a while since we've had these sports programs, and I know that's one of the main ones that's been carrying on. I think you're leading the pack to help building some of those sports programs up. I think you'll see more football coming up. I think with our Parks and Department, I think we'll maybe start getting some baseball, maybe some softball. Who knows? But with our parks being redone, but encourage the parents that are out there listening or coming or whatever. Years ago, we had many teams that were out there playing, and we don't have that right now. So let's get the kids back out there again and continue to build this our youth sports program. It's very vital to our kids growing up. The motorcycle club or the antique or the vintage motorcycle show was great. I mean, it was just a pleasure to see all the people that were out there. I mean, it's amazing that one day event fills the park up, and it just everybody's out there. And commending the sheriff's department for their presence out there. I know it had a lot to do with it. There was not one incident out there. Everybody did, like Commissioner Llewellyn said, everybody was having a good time. I did see a lot more kids out there this year than usual, and I guess they're going to be motorcyclists. I don't know, but it was nice. They had a lot of nice food out there. Was all over the place. The T-shirts being sold. It's just the presence of everybody out there. It's just a great event. A lot of support from the community, and Tony and staff did a great job, and he needs to be commended for that. He did a good job. We talked a little bit about giving money away tonight. It was kind of bad timing, but I'm going to ask you that we have had an event that we've sponsored every year that I can remember. It is the Prestige Club. They do a unique and very great thing for our youth. They have sponsored an ethics. I have ethics written down because I got to ask you about our ethics training, our etiquette training. They do etiquette training for the young kids. Tropical Acres has always been there for them. I guess that's where they'd like to do it again. They teach them the boys how to tie a tie. They teach them the girls and boys how to dance, how to sit at the table, how to use their fork and knives. Putting the napkin on their lap, and just teach them manners. The event, the kids love it, and I know that they take home with them a memory that's there because some of these kids have never even eaten in a restaurant before. So I'm asking, we've done two schools. We did Collins Elementary last year and Dania Elementary last year. It's $2,000 to sponsor each school. And she's also wants to step it up a little bit and include Olson this year. I'm willing to put out, out of my contingency, if I'm allowed to at this point. I don't know what our rules and stuff are, but I'd like to sponsor one school with $2,000 out of my contingency, and I'm asking the commission if any of you would like to step up and help either partial or whatever sponsor the other two schools. And that's where I'm at with that. So asking anybody.
No, I believe we do this every year, and I like the idea of adding Olson Middle School. So I don't know if we want to do this as a commission, but I certainly am willing to sponsor a school, or if we want to do all three schools as a commission, then look at it from the commission contingency. But I'm certainly willing to sponsor a school.
Anybody else?
Commissioner Ramoli?
And Vice Mayor, I'm actually going to talk to Paula, and my company itself is going to sponsor one of those, hopefully.
Okay, so the three of us can sponsor it, unless if
Commissioner Llewellyn
anybody
wants
else
to
wants to do it, we can
sponsor.
break it down. It's up to you guys.
To sponsor one as well. I was going to offer to sponsor one as well. So, however you want to do it, if you want to. Right, it would be on the next agenda item just to approve it. It would be on the consent agenda.
One per school, so it'd be one school.
But it's one per organization. But if you're breaking,
But you can
it
do
down
amount up to 7,500.
up to 7,500, right?
That's six.
So that's 6,000.
Right. Right.
Okay. Right, so it'd be from the commission for 6,000 for Olson, Collins, and Dania Elementary etiquette classes
So what do we do
from
it? We're not doing it
Prestige
from us,
Club.
from the city now?
All right.
What, I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
It's part of the grant program.
Do what?
It's part of the.
So the city's going to do it on that, or are we doing it on ours?
The commission contingency, it's 6,000, it's one organization, it's under 7,500.
Maxine will prepare the one pager that
Okay.
will go on the consent
Okay.
agenda. For
All right.
the next
Whatever you
meeting.
guys want to do. That's
And then it'll be on consent agenda, and we can all approve it at that time.
Okay, and then and I would like to ask you all at that time when they do it. I know that some or all of us, I'm not sure you were there, Liz, but I'd like you to come out and see and do that. While we're there, maybe we can get some marketing on it and show what this, like you're talking about, what the monies are going for, because that's a really big thing to see these kids out there. And I think we could do that. I'm asking us. I'll get the dates for you. I'll have Maxine get them from Pauline, and then we'll put it out there for everybody that can show up for that. You don't have to stay. It's just you can come out and watch. But the guys are real important because the kids don't know how to tie a tie. I have a struggle when I try to tie their tie, but it's a lot of fun watching the kids' excitement. Oh, stop it! It's not probably right. Anyhow, and I just done a question to you, Laura. We had the thing that's come about ethics training. I just took my ethics training end of last year. So you have to stay out. I just take it. I don't have to take this when there's other classes that become available. I'm not to do it right away, right?
Was it in 24, 25?
24. Huh?
What, do you know the date when
Well,
you did it?
it's coming up like next month.
Okay, so it's
When did
This
you
Friday,
take
it's
your
this
last
Friday.
one? Was it in 24 or 25?
It was the end of 24, but it was for 24. But it was at the end of the year. I just didn't know if there's other options.
No, there's a lot of
Okay,
different
yeah, I know.
options.
I just didn't want to take it 4 months apart. I thought I could take it. All right, if you can find out if there's other options, because I don't think I can make this weekend. Okay, thank you. That's all I have to say, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, and I will try to keep this brief. We'll see how it goes. But I will start with the contingency funds. I don't know if you guys remember, there was an electric box that was at the corner of Dania Beach Boulevard and US 1. It was put there, or it was originally instituted by the Dania Beach Improvement Committee. It had flamingos artwork on there, and it was a utility box. I don't know who removed it or why it was removed. A utility company working on the box removed it and replaced it with a plain metal box. I believe that our city is about art, and so I want approval from my contingency, unless you guys want to do it as a group, to replace that artwork from the original artist at $900. So do I have approval? I'm happy to take that from mine. Because they have not budgeted for it. I don't know how it was removed. I don't know if we have any further information on why the flamingos were removed, but I just want them back, so I'm willing to pay for it. Hold on.
They're owned by the utility company, so they have the right to take them out.
Yeah, and they also, in some cases, they actually removed boxes completely. Because I know there's one on Griffin Road that was removed. And
So
that,
they can
that
do-
one had design as well, and it's gone.
So they can do it again.
They could do it again. So. The box is there. I don't have a problem with their taking the 900 contingency from hers or the commission. Doesn't bother me either way.
And they don't have to let us know. They can just remove it and take it at.
They own it. They own it. It's their property.
What we could do is reach out to them, let them know this was done. You know,
Just don't know what entity it is. I mean, it could be AT&T, it could be Verizon, it could be a light company, it could be FP&L, it could be AT&T.
but if we're going to invest $900 and a month later they're going to remove it again, we
Maybe
will do this
engineering
for
can
years.
tell us who is the owner of the box.
Yeah, that's the goal. We're going to look into who's the owner of the box. We're going to reach out. We're going to say, hey, it was removed. We're willing to spend the $900 again, but we want to know that you're not planning on removing this box.
Thank you, City Manager. I really appreciate that. That's responsible because I don't mind replacing it, but I'm not going to replace it every month or every 6 months or something like that if they can just do it at will. So if it was, thank you. All right, so then that's done. And then next, we have the annual Broward League of Cities annual gala that will take place on June 7th, 2025. Usually, this commission sponsors a table of 10. We have complimentary valet parking, a half-page ad in the gala for the e-program, a prominent screen recognition at the gala on the league website, pre- and post-social media recognition, signage recognition at the gala, verbal recognition at the gala, press release, pre- and post-gala recognition, accountability for the sponsorship. Do I have consensus for
The Broward League of Cities, 5,000. All right. We have consensus from the commission for the $5,000 sponsorship for the Broward League of Cities annual gala on June 7th. All right. And I was unable to attend the MLK Gala as I have in the past because I was fortunate to attend my very first U.S. Conference of Mayors for the 93rd winter meeting that took place in Washington, D.C., alongside almost simultaneously with the inauguration. So it felt like everybody in the world was in D.C. at one time. Mayors, Congress, presidents, everybody from all over was in our nation's capital. And I will tell you, there was an electric energy in DC during that time. The amount of resources, we got 3 out of 4 mayors that have been there before, probably. But it is just the amount of resources and the amount of partnerships and the amount of relationship building that you can there. I call it mentorship because I was there with mayors who were there who've been mayors for 20 years and kind of showed me some of the ropes as some of my colleagues do as well. But I did join the Mayors Against Illegal Guns Alliance, the Mayors Alliance to End Childhood Hunger, and there were resources for our firefighters, P3 Institutes, high-end marketing and media of cities that would be at no cost to our city. So I plan to bring a lot of this information back and share it with our city management, our administration, and discuss it during our strategic planning so that we can use some of these resources to improve this. To improve the quality of life for our residents. Next, we have the 18th annual Vintage Motorcycle Show. I won't go into everything that everybody already said, but I will say it was such a great event where we had 5,000, over at least 5,000 people, and I was a little disappointed that we didn't have marketing for that event, with it being such a big event and so many people being attending there. So if we could have marketing for that event in the future, I would really appreciate having that captured. Next, I had a meeting with the state attorney at the state attorney's office with some of his staff just regarding Dania Point, as the captain alluded to, and we had a lot of great conversation surrounding the safety of Dania Point, and I just really want to shout out to our captain, to our city manager, who has worked diligently. Almost every question that they had already asked had already been taken care of by our administration and by our BSO. So I really just want to thank you all for being proactive when shootings and different things come to harm or to threaten the safety of our residents, that we are doing everything in our power to keep our residents safe, as it is our #1 priority. And with that, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Very good. Amen. Hallelujah. Nora, by the way, that's a very cute shirt you're wearing. Good night, everybody.